What is going on, YouTube? You already know what time it is. It's time for another episode of the most uncut, unfiltered, and unfucking censored sports talk show you are going to find on YouTube. But before we get into today's episode, let me just start off by saying click the link in the description if you want some Reaper apparel, clothing, or accessories. They have a wide variety of clothing and accessories. You will not be disappointed. Get whatever you want and be sure to use code No Mercy Sports 10. That's No Mercy Sports, all caps, followed by the number 10. Because remember one thing, time wasted is time lost. And we're almost on chapter 3 of the new year. My God. Anyways, without further ado, it's time for the most uncut, unfiltered, and unfucking sports talk show you are going to find on YouTube. Without further ado, let's get into today's episode let's get into today's episode with everybody saying No Mercy Sports. Yeah.
Nobody can stop me now.
God damn it, I love that fucking entrance. Always gets me hyped up. Now, with me today, as always, he's a regular on this show. I love having him on. I love going on his show. He is the host of College Sports Villain, and Villain certainly fits his name. Please help me welcome to the stage, Mr. Andrew Anderson. How you doing, buddy?
Good. What's up, man? How we doing?
Ain't nothing but a G thing. Same shit, different day. Just sucks that it's a Sunday without football, you know?
Yes, it does.
All right, so we are going to get into the first topic right now. A lot of speculation is going around with Justin Fields unfollowing the Chicago Bears and the NFL on Instagram. A lot of people are saying that, Chicago should trade him to a team like the Steelers because they feel that Kenny Pickett isn't working out. I don't know. Should the Bears once again shoot themselves in the foot and draft another quarterback, or should they take the gamble and build around Justin Fields?
Well, a week ago, I would have said build around Justin Fields, but the fact that he's being petty on social media and unfollowing them because of whatever, disagreements that they're having or whatever, I think he has made it known that it is time to move on from him. So if that's the case, Caleb Williams agrees to come. I mean, he's as good as Justin Fields, in my opinion. They'll just have to start over, which sucks. But if he's going to be petty and he's going to be like, I'm following you, then I think that decision was already made for the Bears there.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, for me, I kind of see it differently. I mean, he brought it up on the radio show or podcast with the St. Brown brothers that it was like, look, it's the off season. It's time to buckle down, get better than you're supposed to. And, just because you're following some girl or an Instagram model on Instagram doesn't mean that, you're trying to slide in and hit it. So, but I really don't see anything special with Caleb Williams. Plus, he's made it known that he doesn't want to go to Chicago because Cliff Kingsbury is now the offensive coordinator with them. And him and Williams also have a pretty good history. Well, good-ish, I would say. So, and he's made it known that he wants to go to the Redskins.
Yeah, he has. There are other people out there to take a chance on if Caleb Williams is going to, say he didn't want to go. Michael Penix Jr. is there. You got the reigning Heisman winner. You got Bo Nix, if that's the way you decide to go, even though their offense is built for a mobile quarterback. So I doubt they'll go that route. But, I mean, worst case scenario, they pick up Michael Penix Jr., trade Justin Fields, get a lot for him, and get Michael Penix Jr. So could be win-win. I think Justin Fields is the guy. Like I hate it for him that this is going on, but if that's the way they part to go, Michael Penix Jr. is a pretty good second place, and if you do trade him, you will get a lot for him.
Right, absolutely. I mean, We shall see what happens with Justin Fields. The thing that gets me is that people are saying the Steelers should trade for him. Obviously, like I said earlier, they feel or people are saying that Kenny Pickett really isn't the guy, but Hall of Fame quarterback, four-time Super Bowl champion Terry Bradshaw is saying that they should continue to build around Kenny Pickett. And that's what they've been doing. Unfortunately, morons on shows like Get Up and First Take or even Undisputed are saying the most out-of-pocket shit just for attention and a paycheck, saying, oh, well, they've been doing that, blah, 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 look where it got them. Yeah, okay. Are we forgetting who the offensive coordinator was for the Steelers last year?
Yes, we know Kenny Pickett is a very good backup quarterback. I mean, he's somebody that come in and run your offense if QB1 goes down. I think the Steelers could use another quarterback. I think Justin Fields is better than Kenny Pickett, so if they get him. But once again, the Steelers' offense is really under Mike Tomlin's always been run the ball and pass 15 yards downfield, and that's not what Justin Fields does the best. He's a mobile quarterback who wants to throw it on the run and take off, and their offense just isn't built for that. So I'm not sure what pick they have in the draft, but there's some pretty good pocket passer quarterbacks out there. They can continue to build around Kenny Pickett and develop someone else. I mean, at least he knows the offense and he can fill in until their next person gets it. I just don't see how Justin Fields fits in with that offensive scheme under Mike Tomlin. I don't.
I think it's more so that who is it? Arthur Smith is now the new offensive coordinator, and there's a lot of talk that both him and Fields have had some history together as well.
Yeah, and Arthur Smith is a very, very good offensive coordinator. He didn't work out too well as a head coach, but with that being said, I just once again like Justin Fields. If you look at Arthur Smith's offense at the Falcons, like Desmond Ridder never ran the ball. You know what I mean? It just never happened. It could be the way it goes, but if I'm the Steelers, I don't know if I really want to take the chance to deprogram Justin Fields for what happened in Chicago and pass up, possibly getting a quarterback in the future like Spencer Rattler or Bo Nix or somebody like that. That's just what I think.
South Carolina shout out you brought in.
I think Spencer Rattler is going to be a fantastic NFL quarterback.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, you get a guy who's getting less than 3 seconds to throw the ball in the SEC, and he's throwing for 303 touchdowns a game like that. He should have gotten more recognition than he did. And this is a South Carolina fan telling you how bad this team was and how bad it would have been if he hadn't have been there. I mean,
for crying out loud, he was also playing in the SEC, the powerhouse of college football. So, a team like South Carolina, and a team like South Carolina doesn't really get much recognition. It's mostly just Alabama, Georgia, and then everybody else.
Yes, that is correct. But South Carolina really hasn't earned any recognition in the past 10 years or so. Had a few 9-win seasons, and that was nice, but nothing like when they were 11-2 for 3 years in a row under Spurrier. I mean, this is not the same team.
Right?
It's just not.
No, it isn't. I mean, their time will come, though. Their time will come. There is no doubt about that. But
they have a huge deal program. Yeah.
Yeah, I just cannot stop thinking about last weekend and what a travesty the All-Star weekend was for the NBA. I mean, since 2016 and since 2017, when Aaron Gordon got robbed and Levine went back to back, the dunk contest is at this point just not what it used to be. I mean, even when it comes to baseball, we're so hyped up for the home run derby. But ever since 2017 and up until this year, the dunk contest has just gotten so boring, so bland. What changes do you think need to be made for the dunk contest moving forward?
Well, there just needs to not be one for a while, and the problem with that right now is everything has been done. Like
Yeah.
there's nothing left to do in the dunk contest that's impressive. We've dunked over cars. We saw Michael Jordan battle Dominique Wilkins. We have Blake Griffin. I mean, there's just nothing impressive left to do, unfortunately. Uh,
Yeah.
Nothing. The only way to make it what it was is take it away for a few years like they did before, and then when they bring it back, everybody's like, "Cool, the dunk contest is," but But other than that, it's done. I mean, what else is there to do?
I mean, yeah, I completely agree. Like, for crying out loud, we saw Mac McClung, back-to-back winner, jump over Shaq. This dude is in the G League, for fuck's sake, and he went back-to-back with the dunk contest. It's like, cool. We saw Nate Robinson dunk over, who was it? I'm pretty sure he did a dunk over someone tall, like Dwight Howard, I believe, or he probably did Shaq as well.
I can't remember who it was either, but yeah, he did. But at the end of the day, that it just ain't. You don't. The problem is you have your best people like LeBron and all them. They're not in the dunk contest. Everybody
Hmm.
wants to see Jordan versus Dominique.
Yeah.
Everybody wants to see Kobe versus whoever at the time, Kevin Garnett. But nobody wants to see Matt McClung win back to back dunk contests. If the stars aren't going to
Uh,
do it, it's dead.
Yeah. No, I actually agree with what you said. I think that if the NBA takes away the dunk contest for like 3 years tops, and then they can start scouting for guys that love to do like Vince Carter, for example, in 2000. That man had everybody off their seats when he was in the dunk contest.
Right. Because once again, it was your superstar out there. You're
Hmm.
very rarely are you going to get that D Brown moment where nobody really knows who he is. He stops, he pumps up his shoe because like shoes back in the day, we had this little thing you could pump them up and make them tighter.
Yep.
And he stopped and he did that, and it was a big deal. And he dunked. But most dunk contests you think of are Michael Jordan, Dominique
Hmm.
Wilkins, Spud Webb, Vince Carter,
Yep.
Kobe Bryant. You're thinking of the superstars. So unless the NBA can somehow convince their superstars to participate in this, it's
Hmm.
dead. Matt McClung winning a third straight NBA dunk contest would kill it for good.
Yeah. I think one thing I saw on social media that does make a little bit of sense. This is what the MLB is doing, especially with the home run derby. They're paying some big name guys to compete, and the winner gets $1 million. Second place, I believe, is 500 grand, and then so on and so forth down the line. And it's been working, you know. Granted, Manfred really isn't all that a good commissioner for baseball, but I mean, he knows what to do, and he knows what sells as well. With the NBA, it's just becoming a popularity contest, and like nobody really wants to put forth an effort.
So the problem with that is like you can't give LeBron James $1 million and say, well, a chance for $1 million. He doesn't care like about $1 million.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Hmm.
It's not the same. Like baseball contests, though, even though you have somebody like Aaron Judge who makes all this money, like baseball is legendary. Winning the home run contest, like, hey, you can win $1 million and you can be a legend of all time. And that
Hmm.
matters. LeBron James cares nothing about the dunk contest. Kevin
No.
Durant cares nothing about the I mean, it's not a level playing field between Major League Baseball and NBA. Like it's world of difference. The money's different.
Hmm.
The history is different. Like baseball is history. Like it is rooted deep. Basketball is dead. Then it's back. It's dead. It's back. Without
Yeah.
Michael Jordan, we might not even be talking about basketball right now. I mean, that's how
No.
close it came.
Agreed, my man. I mean, I think we're going through the years where it's like basketball is really dead right now, and until we get the one dude that can actually make basketball exciting again, because I mean, even during the '80s, Magic and Bird easily carried that decade,
Yeah.
easily.
Yep.
And with LeBron, he's made the this generation of basketball players the friendship era. Everybody just wants to be buddy buddy, go up to each other before a game, dab up, hug, and all this other shit instead of, went back how it used to be in the '80s and '90s. People were out for blood. They wanted to kill each other.
So the NBA the NBA really, really invested heavy in Zion Williamson, and the guy just he's hurt, and
Can't
they
stay in
thought
shape.
right. He, a lot of things that he's just not doing. He's not going to be the next LeBron. He will go down as the biggest bust in NBA history unless he does something in quick, because he was the next Michael Jordan, next LeBron, and they were banking on him and Luka to really carry the torch. And Luka's doing his part for what it's worth. But Kevin Durant, superstar, he's out there today dribbling into triple coverage. Looks like he don't even want to be out there. LeBron James is old. I think he's younger than me, but you know what I mean. Basketball years wise, old. And it's just the stars are dying. Like CP3 is old, and the new stars are supposed to be like Luka and Trey and Zion. Zion's a bust. Trey Young's doing everything he can to carry this shitty organization that he plays for, except for today. Now he's out for 4 weeks, so the Hawks playoffs are dead. But that's the point. Like Atlanta did him no favors. The NBA did no favors to help Atlanta make him a star. They pushed Luka because Luka would be a star, but Zion Williams is a bust. It sucks. Like who the NBA invested in just not work out the way they wanted it to. Outside of right now, I know LeBron James is LeBron James, but right now, outside of Giannis and Luka, nobody cares.
I mean, the only dude I can really think of that could possibly carry the torch is Victor Wembanyama on San Antonio. He, in my opinion, is the one shining star that could really make the Spurs back what they used to be in the mid 2000s.
Yes, but he really reminds me of that Tim Duncan type too. Like he's going to go out and win a lot, but he's quiet. He's not going to go out there and talk smack and do a lot of pressing or a lot of press releases, stuff like that.
Yeah,
which is fine because Tim Duncan was good for basketball.
Absolutely.
But while that's going on, you got to have a bad boy, and that's what the NBA does not have right now. They banked on Kevin Durant being that bad guy, but they're like, they wanted it, they pushed it. He's a snake. He joined this, and then you listen to interviews with him, and then you watch him at the Olympics draping the American flag around his shoulder, talking about how much he loves this country. Like he's just not the bad guy they wanted him to be, and the NBA is missing that. Like Michael Jordan was the ultimate villain. Kobe Bryant was the ultimate villain. Like LeBron James is not a villain. He's like you said, he's everybody's friend. So that's what basketball's missing right now. They're missing they're missing Zion Williamson being what he's supposed to be, and they're missing Kevin Durant being a villain. And that's what it's going to take to bring it back. And the dunk contest without these people in it, like if it was Luka versus Zion Williamson in dunk contest, I promise you everybody out there would be watching it. But
100%.
I still don't know who the fuck Matt McClung is, and he's won it back-to-back years. I mean, that's the problem. Until they can convince these stars like that, it's done.
Yeah. No, I agree. And another event that that really got talked about, but again, I think it's like a kind of much like the dunk contest, it's on its last leg. Eventually it's going to sing its swan song. There was something really interesting about the 3-point contest, though. It was, in a way, a battle of the sexes because we saw Steph Curry go up against WNBA star Sabrina Ionescu. I hope I said that right. Anyway, ultimately, both players ended up scoring 26 points, but hats off to Sabrina shooting the ball from NBA 3-point range because I believe WNBA has a shorter 3-point line than the NBA does. It was one thing people couldn't stop talking about. Should there be more NBA versus WNBA competitions like this in the All-Star game?
It just depends. I'm good with the 3-point contest, but you'll never be able to have a dunk contest between the sexes.
No, absolutely not.
You'll never be able to have a real competitive basketball game. It's just men are bigger, stronger, faster. It's not that these women aren't talented because they are, but what's a woman supposed to do against Shaquille O'Neal and Kobe Bryant out there? They would cook me and you.
I mean, the only two competitions are probably the 3-point contest and the skills competition.
Right. Skills competition, the women, The women do a lot better at the skills competition because they take the game of basketball more seriously. More and more we're seeing in this generation, it's just flashiness and shooting from the 3-point and you know, things like that. But if you watch a WNBA game, like they're running plays, they're running schemes, like just like the old school basketball, like they're there to win. They're not chunking it from the logo. They're, you know, there's none of that. Like they're playing fundamental basketball.
Right.
So the skills competition would be fun, but the 3-point competition, once again, if you want to make it fun, you've got to get Luca involved. You got to get Zion involved. You got to get CP3 involved. And
Yeah,
until you do
absolutely. Or
that,
even get the big men involved, you know? Like everybody, all these casuals are saying, "Oh, we're in the most talented era of the NBA." You know, all these 7 foot plus guys are shooting threes. Okay, if that's the case, if they're that good at 3-point shooting, have them sign up for the 3-point contest. Have it be a battle of the big men, for crying out loud. And then on the side, we could have like Damian Lillard or Steph Curry again versus Caitlin Clark when she comes into the WNBA, because God knows she's going.
yeah, oh yeah, she'll be a highly paid star in the WNBA, and you know, I think that it would be a fun 3-point contest to put them in there. Caitlin Clark, I think it would be fun, just like you said, throw Kevin Durant in there, you know. But if you could go out there and honestly, and you could say, like, you got Aaliyah Boston and Caitlin Clark versus Steph Curry and Luka Doncic, it would be a blockbuster. The
Oh,
problem
absolutely.
is getting these people to agree to do these fun things, and you know, I would watch it. Like that would be amazing.
Yeah.
You know, just you know, or do 1-and-1. You know, do like Luca and Leah Boston versus Steph Curry and Caitlin Clark. You know, that shit would be amazing. I'd watch every minute of it. You know,
Oh,
or
for
even do
sure.
a 2-on-2. And then, you know, it's kind of a fair trade there. You know, you got one of each star. I don't know. There's ways to make it fun. It does not work without the superstar signing on, unfortunately.
Yeah. I mean, Adam Silver right now he's in a Vince McMahon mindset. He is too focused on just bringing in the same old people, knowing that he's going to get a fat paycheck, but the crowd just isn't all that into it.
No, they're not. They miss on so many things, like the in-season tournament being at the end, and the winner of the in-season tournament gets an auto bid to the playoffs.
Yep.
You know, you do that. I mean, like it, you know, do it with teams that aren't going to make it. You know what I mean? Everybody from 6 down, the play-in down, and then the winner gets an auto bid, right? And you put
Sure.
them wherever seated they were. Like that's a missed opportunity right there. Like that, it just doesn't make no sense. Like, who cares that the Lakers? Well, no one even remembers the in-season tournament at this point.
No, I guarantee you now, nobody even remembers that in-season tournament. Like, I
Mm-mm.
still do remember it, but mostly because of like how pathetic it was, and when it came out, and just because Adam Silver was trying to keep up with the NFL numbers, and it's like, dude, on Christmas Day, you got beat 4 million viewers per 1 million viewers that you had for Christmas Day games.
Well, what did they think was going to happen? Like it's the
Exactly.
NFL. Like even Major League Baseball knows better. You know,
Mm-hmm.
like they're not trying to compete. They're scheduling around, right? Like
Yep.
they'll throw some games on, but like they're not scheduling the World Series on a Sunday.
No,
You know,
no. I mean, when it comes to October and beginning of November, they know what they're doing with the playoffs and with the World Series, and it's just so much fun to watch. It's so
yes,
electric.
it is. The NBA is just bad right now. I think Adam Silver. I know everybody loves him. He's bad leadership. He misses on these
Yes.
opportunities too much.
Hmm.
The game of basketball has become boring.
It
Uh,
has.
you know, nobody cares anymore. Like when Denver won their championship, like people don't realize how big that was. All these
Hmm.
super teams around, and then you had Jokic and Murray out there on an island in a small market, and they just went out and crushed the competition. But that'll never go down in history, like when Dirk and the Mavericks beat Kobe's team. You know what I
Hey,
mean? And
that
then beat
Miami Heat
LeBron's
team
team.
could have done it. That Miami Heat team could have done it. Unfortunately, they just went through the gentleman's sweep.
Correct. You know, and that's what you don't have anymore. That is just it's not as fun. The NBA, unless something changes, the viewership is down a lot, and it's going to
Hmm.
continue to crumble.
Yeah.
LeBron James can't carry that torch anymore. He's too old.
No.
You know, he
No.
load
He's the sole
limiting and.
reason that the NBA is still within like 4 million viewers.
Mm-hmm.
Just because of him alone. That is the sole reason. And speaking of missed opportunities and not cashing in, this All-Star game, I didn't even want to watch it because every year prior, the score just kept increasing and the effort just kept going down. Nearly 400. I can't even make that up. 400 points were scored in this year's All-Star game last weekend. And much like the Pro Bowl, it seems that the front office and the players aren't putting too much effort when the time comes around. It's like, yeah, we're having fun. Like, we're buddy. We're just going to shoot from half court just because we know we can and we know it's going to go in. But it's like, bro, you're really going to go that high up you're just going to run the board? Like, something needs to be addressed. And assuming that there's an All-Star game in the future, what do you think needs to be done?
Well, all right. So the problem is the generation, right? Like they got these huge contracts and they got their front offices going, do not go out there and get hurt. Like, this game means nothing. Do not go out there and do something stupid, right?
Yeah.
And back in like Jordan's days, where Jordan was a killer, Jordan did not care. He didn't care if it was a pickup street basketball game.
He took every game seriously, like it was his last one.
Correct. And we don't have that anymore, but between, people not, being prima donnas, and a lot of it is the front office saying, hey, don't you go out there and get hurt because we'll void your contract or whatever the deal is, right? Unfortunately, that's the way it is now. We'll never see another Pro Bowl. We'll never, it's time for the NBA All-Star game to go the way of the Pro Bowl and just go to some fun activities. Like flag football was a fun activity because the actual game was dead and they knew it, right? So, they need to do something like that. Like, just do some, like we talked about, 2-on-2 drills. You get Luka out there with Caitlin Clark, and you get Kevin Durant out there with Aaliyah Boston, and you do a 2-on-2. You do something fun like that because the competition's not there. Nobody's going to get hurt for an All-Star game. Like, they're just not going to. So it's time to do something different like that. I think the dunk contest is dead unless you get your stars involved. So unless you can get your top stars involved against each other and you get stuff like that, it's time to let the dunk contest go. You can put it there for filler if you want, just to say you have a champion, but you'll see your ratings go plummet between the skills competition, 3-point competition, which was still pretty fun to me.
Yeah.
Do the 2-on-2 with the WNBA, do the cross-platform thing, because nobody watching people just chuck balls up with nobody guarding them. I mean, like, every record that was cool in the NBA All-Star game has went out the window the last few years because it doesn't matter anymore. LeBron James, I got 97 points, But,
who gives a shit?
It just, those kind of things don't matter. Right. Jordan scoring 42 in the All-Star game was a big deal, but now every player scores 42. It's just crazy.
It really is. Or hell, even for the All-Star game, stir up some controversy and bring in that communist fucking Brittany Griner for fuck's sake. That'll numbers may go down, but it'll still get talked about just because of what happened with her, I think, 2 years ago?
Well, the one thing I really like about Brittany Griner, right, is she is the ultimate understanding of why we are what we are in America now, because she was an avid communist and blah 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 yada yada. She had been programmed. She went to college, she was gay, so they told her she has to be this, she has to be that, right? So then she goes and she gets in prison in Russia, where they do not care about you at all.
Nope.
And then a president that everybody hates reaches across the pond and gets her, tries to get her back, and they're like, no. And then, so then we have to trade with Joe Biden a top Russian spy that was very important for what we were doing here to get her back, right? And while everybody was mad about that, she came back. The very first thing she said was, I love America. I get it. And then she stands up for the national anthem every single time now with her hand over her heart. She does it every single time, tells everybody how much she loves America. I think that's a success story. And the problem is, you're right, ratings will go down because all they'll remember is who she was, and they're not looking at who she is now. But, maybe that's exactly what you're saying. Give her the platform to show. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Put her
Yeah.
out there with Kevin Durant, Kevin Durant loves America. Do you remember during the Olympics, and he's carrying the flag and he's like, "I love this country." They need more of that there, because they had the whole thing with the kneeling, and it kind of turned a lot of people off, because a lot of people who watch sports aren't into that kind of thing. But to show them again, like, hey, look, we love America too. Show a different side of it. You can still, support gay people and all this stuff, but at the same time, I love America because they allow me the freedom to do this. One of the few countries in the world that I can. And then they start understanding what patriotism really is, and I think you can get your people back. But with the NBA, they lost a lot of viewers with that, but they can get them back that way, because Kevin Durant is not unpatriotic. He's not a villain. None of that. But they're going to have to do something different, because the NBA is boring as shit right now. The All-Star game is boring. The games during the season are boring. Like, I probably will catch the playoffs here and there, but like, I'm not looking forward to it like in years past at all.
No, I mean, I'm not either. There, aside from baseball, there is one thing I'm really looking forward to that's going to be happening eventually, and that is the NHL playoffs. Now, with hockey, it's a very rare occurrence that we see a high scoring game. Usually, a high scoring game for hockey is like 4-3, 5-3, somewhere in that vicinity. But at one point last week, the Minnesota Wild were down 5-2 to the Vancouver Canucks, and they fought all the way back, won the game, and the final score was, I'm not kidding when I say this, 10-7. On a bad Sunday for the NFL, that's about the score that you're going to get if you put like the Giants and Patriots game that was being shown, and it was just insane to watch. I mean, I couldn't. But two players on the Minnesota Wild had hat tricks going in, having that comeback win.
Sorry, it's all right. It's all right.
Happy wife, happy life. Am I right? Anyways,
yes, that was my wife.
Yeah. But yeah, so it was just insanely crazy to see Minnesota not only have two of their players have hat tricks in this comeback win, but did the Minnesota find their inner Wild in this comeback win, or did Vancouver just straight up choke?
Well, when you're up 5-2, I think sometimes, especially like you explained earlier in hockey being a low scoring game, you kind of feel like, hey, this, the game is ours. We just need to play defense. Now it's the time to rest some people. Don't go out there aggressive, just kind of, and I think it turned around to bite them. I think they got too relaxed, and hockey's a low scoring game, especially when you have a good goalie. But I mean, you can't just have people chunking freely at the goalie either. There has to be some kind of contention, which is why the shootout's so fun, because you can beat the goalie,
It's basically one-on-one.
Correct. Then the defense matters. And when you got players out there lackadaisical, we got this games in the bag, and then it becomes one-on-one, then it becomes a lot easier to score at that point in hockey. So I think that's what happened. I did not get to catch the game, just the highlights. But in the past years that I watched it, that seems to be what happens. They just, because like you said, that's a big deal. Having five goals in hockey, that's a lot. Like, that's a big day.
Is.
And I think that's what happened. Without watching the full game, I can't really give you an analysis, but generally that's how it goes during those comeback wins like that. The game's in the bag, so let's just like playing prevent defense in the NFL.
Right. Yeah, no, it's crazy. I mean, even one of the best goalies who is on the Florida Panthers, being Sergei Bobrovsky. I mean, I know, like, either way, dude is a stone cold brick house. He, I know for a fact, we even wouldn't allow 5 goals in the first place. But and he's one of the main reasons that the the Panthers are just so good. And I'll tell you what, though, the playoffs for the NHL are going to be one to watch, and the crowd is going to be electric. And man, I cannot wait to see who is going to hoist up Lord Stanley. Not that fucking Stanley Cup bullshit going around on social media.
Yeah, we're not. We're drinking champagne out of this cup. You know, but I'm excited to see who wins it. Unfortunately, it's not going to be my team. Even though the
Yeah.
future does look bright with Bedard, you know, we're in super last place right now. We're not sniffing the playoffs, so you know,
Yeah.
I will watch the playoffs, but it won't be with the same oomph as like my team has a shot at the title. You know,
No,
but
for sure.
hockey's fun though.
Oh,
They're out there,
absolutely.
they're serious. You know, they're not like even the NHL All-Star game. Like they're still just like going at each other. You know.
I think the one thing that, speaking of the NHL All Star game, I think the one thing I really got a kick out of Nikita Kucherov, easily one of the best front runners for the Art Ross Trophy, just going into the skills competition was just so lackadaisical with it. He just put forth little to no effort, but at the same time, you got a good laugh out of it. Aside from that,
Entertainment.
yes. Aside from that, despite how low scoring hockey can be, oh my god, it's so fast paced and it's unbelievable to watch.
It is. And one thing that people tend to forget, like baseball, like if you have a
Hmm.
3-2 baseball game, like that's a fun game. I'm
Oh,
a big fan
absolutely.
of defense, so you know that's why hockey's so much fun. People that don't watch it, they just see 1-0, like oh my god, you know, 2-1.
Yep.
It's not like soccer. Like I do agree with them about how boring soccer is. Like these dudes, they run miles and miles, and the game goes on for 4 hours, and nobody scores, and then it get settled in penalty kick. It's just not as fun. Like hockey is fast paced, and you know,
Hmm.
I think when you had back in the day Patrick Waugh and he
Hmm.
was out there, man, that was fun. Like even 1-on-1, you weren't gonna beat him. Like you really had to get him out of place. You had to work at it
Yeah.
because like in the shootout, wasn't he undefeated? Like he never got beat like or in the playoffs or whatever it was. Like he was just that good.
Yeah, something like that.
He was so good, man, and that's fun.
Oh, absolutely. But I will say this about the Blackhawks. Going back to the Blackhawks, yeah, they're not going to sniff the playoffs anytime soon.
No,
But I mean, I did some scouting online, looking at some of the top prospects going into the 2024 NHL draft, and I think if the Chicago Blackhawks can find the right guy that could help suit and fit Connor Bedard, we're looking at a great 1-2 punch here that they haven't seen since Jonathan Tays and Patrick Kane.
yes. So they need their Yamir Yager to their Mario Lemieux there. Like they need
Yes.
that big enforcer guy for Bedard.
Hmm.
That's what made the Penguins so dangerous back then because Mario Lemieux was basically Bedard out there, right? And Yamir
Yeah.
Yager was just a brute, like a
Yeah.
straight up brute with skills. And I think that's what Chicago's going to need. I haven't really scouted the draft much, so I don't know who's out there. But if they can get a guy like Yamir Yager to fit in that offense with Bedard, like it becomes scary.
It
Um,
does. Hell, even if they can find another Marian Hossa on the market as well.
right, right. You know, the great part about hockey is you can reach over into Russia right now, pluck somebody playing in their professional ranks, and they'll come over here and they could be like a superstar instantly because it's that serious over there. Like their professional
Absolutely.
is equal to our professional, and that's why the Olympics are always so much fun.
Hmm.
And so there, you know, there are opportunities out there. You know, there's boys in Norway. They'd love to make $8 million to come
Oh,
over.
hell yeah.
So there's lots of talent. That's why the NHL is so much fun. There's talent all around the world, minor leagues, pro leagues, like you can find it everywhere. Like we're the
Absolutely.
only ones that do NFL. You know, baseball, you got Pan America and you got Japan, and that helps, but the rest of the world doesn't play it. You know, that's what makes hockey so special. And
Right.
that's what makes basketball so special in a way as well, because they do play it in Europe a lot and all that.
Absolutely. And like you said, even with baseball, even when the World WBC rolls around, like we already know that it's going to be Dominican Republic, Puerto
Mhm.
Rico, Venezuela,
Yep.
USA, Japan, and all those other teams that are going to be in the semifinals or even competing to go to the finals. Uh, Speaking of baseball, I don't know. it's hard to, or actually, I will say this: it's easy to hate on people on certain teams just because those players embrace the villainous role. But when it's very rare sometimes that we see a player of Mike Trout's caliber come around. This dude is a modern day version of Mickey Mantle. I mean, he provides the hits, he provides the flashy defense, and it fits California. That's what California is. That's why they call it Tinseltown. And it's really hard to hate on the dude because he's such a nice guy. But I mean, he needs to get out of Anaheim. There's no other way to put it like that. Ever since he's come to the Angels, they have only seen one playoff appearance, and the only thing they've done to really help this dude out was sign Albert Pujols to a 10-year, $300 million contract, and then just bring in Ohtani for a year or two, and that still didn't even do anything for them.
Well, the problem is baseball is a team game. You cannot win with Mike Trout and Ohtani. Like, you have to have the other pieces around, because as good as them two are, just look at the Braves. And I'm not plugging my own team. I'm being dead serious. Look at the star power on the Braves. Ronald Acuna Jr., Alex Riley, right? And then you've got Ozzy Albies, you've got Sean Murphy, you've got the lead leaguer in home runs at first base. There's just too much talent out there. Like, you cannot win, you cannot beat teams like that with just two people. Right. Mike Trout loves California, loves the money, doesn't care about his legacy. It's obvious. He cares about where he lives. He likes where he lives, and that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that at all. But where he is failing, or they're failing him or whatever, there is a guy out there filling that villain role, and he came back to life this past year. Bryce Harper, he's obvious one of our biggest rivals, but the one thing I love about him is he is the villain. He is the guy in baseball that's making that villain run. He's good for
and
baseball.
He's making it work too. That's the scary thing.
Yes, he is good for baseball, whether I hate him or not, because he's on the Phillies and I'm a Braves fan. He's exactly what baseball needs right now. He's fun to watch, because the Braves are the standard. Whether everybody likes it or not, this isn't coming from a Braves fan. This is coming from a baseball operational standpoint. They are the standard right now, especially if Spencer Strider gets in his lock groove. It's they're unbeatable almost. But
until October comes around, unfortunately.
Well, I mean, they have a very recent ring. And you're not going to win every single one of them. So, if they were to win again this year, that's the beginning, because the Yankees dynasty, they didn't win 9 in a row. They won 9 over 15 years. So that's what's going on. But the fact that the Phillies knocked the Braves out of the playoffs, and Bryce Harper was like pointing at people as he's rounding the bases. That's,
well, Garcia decided to poke the bear, and it was dude, this is Bryce. Like, it was like, dude, you're messing with Bryce Harper, and then he got a stare down, and it was like, buddy, you shouldn't have done that.
Well, in all fairness, Bryce Harper did it first. And post game, he's talking shit. So then he said, "This person ain't," So then the Braves went out there and did what he said they couldn't do. So they're like, "Hey, what did you say?" And then he gets the last laugh with the big home run. He's pointing, stare down. As much as that hurt as a Braves fan, that was fun for baseball. So
absolutely.
He's the villain. So now, if the Braves and the Phillies meet, say in the NLCS this year, and the Braves beat them, and now it's the good guys beat the bad guys, right? Or if the Philly wins again and goes to the World Series, the villain wins again. Like, either way, it's fun. Baseball is fun because of Bryce Harper.
Yeah, I mean, hell, even last year when I was watching the NLCS between the Phillies and Diamondbacks, it was so much fun, and it was just back and forth with each team. Arizona, I look so much forward to going into this season. They have a young, hungry talent that, in looking back, they shouldn't have been in the NLCS or even World Series in the first place. But, I mean, God, I cannot wait for baseball season. But going back to Mike Trout, the question was, should he continue to waste both his talent and career with Anaheim, or should he sort of step up and kind of demand a trade because the Angels have been failing him time and time again. Like, he's essentially if LeBron stayed in Cleveland during his first stint.
Right. Well, LeBron did eventually win Cleveland a title, right? So LeBron will
Yes.
go down as even though they're mad at him because he left and all that, he did come back and do the right thing and bring them a championship he promised. So LeBron should be loved in Cleveland. The problem with that is the second time around, Cleveland really got him the talent. They went out and they got
Yes.
Kevin Love. You know, they went and got all these players and they did right by him, and he still left them. But it's neither here nor there at this point, right? So the good part about it is Mike Trout is either going to say, I love it in LA and I'm staying here, and that's, I don't care about, you know, notoriety. I just want to play baseball and do what I love and live out here with the people I love. Or he's going to be like, I'm not 25 anymore. You know, this is the time for me to go out and figure out where I want to go. The problem with Mike Trout is, like, if you want to trade him, you're going to want so much back that most teams are just going to be like, I'm not doing that. Like, you're going to need the farm to get him. So unfortunately, he's going to have to wait for free agency because nobody's going to part with all that for him. And that's, you know, and then he can go wherever he wants once he reaches free agency. Like, you know, there's no salary cap anymore. Like, there's a luxury tax, and the Dodgers have the money, and the Yankees have the money, and the Braves have the money, and that's why these same teams are going to continue to win. But, you know, once his contract's up, I wouldn't be if he really wants that ring, I wouldn't be surprised to see him sign with the Yankees and play with Aaron Judge. Like,
Maybe he signs with the Phillies because he is a South Jersey kid and loves everything about Philadelphia too.
Correct. But, you know, if you're Mike Trout, you're more familiar with the American League, and Philadelphia is good right now, but I think Bryce Harper has 1 year left on his contract, and
didn't he sign a 13-year deal?
Did he?
Yeah.
So he signed it. So who has the 1 year? Somebody has a 1 year contract left, and this is their last year.
Maybe Schwarber.
Maybe, and but if you're wanting to win a ring, and I'm just being honest, and this is coming from a Braves fan, so I've got no love for the Yankees or the Phillies. Your best shot at getting a ring and making a legacy is winning it with the Yankees. That's just, you know, Kansas City won the World Series. Like, nobody knows who played on that team unless you're just an avid baseball fan like us.
Yes.
You know, but if the Yankees win it, it's all over ESPN. It's all over the news. Aaron Judge, you know, you're going to hear all those things.
Right.
That's why I think he would sign with the Yankees over the Phillies if ring chasing is what he was doing, I guess is what I'm saying.
Right. No, that's understandable. The funny thing is, somebody hit me with a comment on social media when Mike Trout was getting talked about, and it was the whole, oh, well, what if Mike Trout leaves and the same way that Bryce Harper left the Nationals, next thing you know, the Nationals are going out and winning a World Series. Well, what if that were to happen? No, the Angels have been so mediocre since their one playoff appearance. They got Anthony Rendon literally like, yeah, I don't like it here. I just treat this like a job.
So that is, and I get why they would say that.
I get it too.
It's not the same thing. That Nationals team was built to win with or without him.
Yes.
He was just an extra piece of the pie. They were that good. This Angels team is not built to win even with Mike Trout. You know, like the Nats were still going to the playoffs and doing really good. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, hell, going into the All-Star break, they had a 0.1% chance to even make the playoffs. Next thing you know, they're World Series champions.
Right. But and the core was already there. We will not see that out of the Angels. You just won't.
No.
You know, that's why it's so shocking that the Dodgers paid Ohtani all that money. Because when Freddie Freeman comes up, I think he signed a 5-year, and he's been there 3 now, 2, 3.
Okay.
And are they really going to re-sign him after giving Ohtani all that money? You know what I mean? Like, they're not going to be able to afford him. And, you know, that's unfortunately, like with Mike Trout, they pay him big money, and it's hard to pay anybody else.
Right, absolutely. I mean, for Freddie Freeman, maybe a homecoming back to Atlanta if the Dodgers don't want to pay him the money. because I think even he let it be known that he didn't want to leave, and I think it was his agent's decision to have him sign with the LA Dodgers.
That is correct. And then when he made his return to Atlanta, he cried, told the crowd how much he loved it, and fired his agent the next day. Is what
Good,
happened. You
good.
know, so I could definitely see, because Freddie Freeman and the Braves' current first baseman, who is the league in home run, they signed the same contract, the same year amount. So it definitely could work out that way. I'd love to see Freddie come back, win another World Series before he retires. I still don't hate Freddie. I get it.
Yeah. I mean, business. It's a business, and
Right.
business decisions are going to happen. It was like what before he signed with the Dodgers. He was there for like what 14 years.
Yeah, he was there. He was there for a long time. He was
Yeah,
very
he was
loved.
ace in the hole, face of the franchise. As soon as Chipper stepped down, and
Correct.
everybody flocked to him. It was God. He in my opinion, he looks better in a Braves uniform than a Dodgers uniform,
Yes.
but that's just kind of being biased. Anyways, so we're gonna move on to the last topic right now. Baseball season again is underway. Couldn't be more excited. I understand spring training games are spring training games, but it's a chance to see that teams to show like, hey, yeah, we had a good off season, but going into the regular season, we want to show that it paid off. I mean, the Cubs did re-sign Cody Bellinger to a 3-year, $80 million deal.
I
They
saw
came
that.
so close to making the playoffs. I really thought they would have been a dark horse last year, but I think they make a good run this year. Aside from that, Rob Manfred, the commissioner of baseball, became the commissioner of the MLB in 2015. Since 2015, who is the only pitcher in Major League Baseball to record 2,000 strikeouts during the time that Manfred has been the commissioner?
Since 2015,
Mm-hmm.
Clayton Kershaw.
Ooh, very good answer and very close. It is Max Scherzer.
Max Scherzer. It was either or. Those are the
Yes.
only ones that throw heat like that for that many years.
Yeah, and I heard about it on ESPN radio. It was too good to not to or to pass up and just like, but when you really think about it, the list in your head is just so immaculate because you have pitchers
It
like
is.
Justin Verlander, Max
Yes.
Scherzer, Clayton Kershaw. Just it's unbelievable.
Let's think about what the Detroit Tigers could have been had they have been smart enough to know what they had 10 years ago.
Right.
They could have been a dynasty right now, because those people
Oh
wanted to
yeah.
be there.
Yeah.
I mean,
Even in 2012, like 2 World Series in 3 years. Oh,
yes, right. They could have kept going. They just
they
didn't
could
know what they
have.
had.
Yeah.
They had no
Oh,
idea. Bad scouting.
the
I'd be firing somebody.
Oh yeah, somebody definitely lost their job
Yeah.
after the 14 blunder. There is
Yes.
no doubt about that.
Like, what were they thinking, man? It's funny to me, because I do not care about the Detroit Tigers, but I mean, what could have been?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I'm still flabbergasted over the 2015 Kansas City Royals. That team was stacked head to toe, and they were so good that year that like 6 out of their 9 players on their lineup made the All-Star team for the American League.
So I don't remember who the GM of that team was, but let me tell you, because I've been kind of sick all day, and so is my little boy, which is why I was late today. I got him to sleep.
Oh, okay.
But to get those people and know who they were and lock them to smaller contracts before other scouts realized what was happening was
Mhm.
brilliant. Could you imagine putting that guy on a Dodgers budget or a Yankees budget and be like, go get me the best of the best? But, at the same time, he would be like, okay, I can go get these young guys, right? Go ahead and sign them and win immediately, and then sign them to long term. And then you've got a dynasty.
Yes.
That was brilliant. Whit Merrifield and all. Like you will never see that again. Just the Detroit Tigers had the same opportunity to do these things and just
Yeah. I mean,
fumbled.
this dude really went out and got guys for like pennies on the dollar
Yep.
for the Royals. He essentially took the Moneyball route. The only difference is it actually ended up working for the Royals and they won a World Series. But and even looking back, those A's teams definitely should have won a World Series or two.
Yeah, he definitely prices righted the people. I do remember that.
Yes.
And like these players, which the other organizations like, they're good, but are they great? We'll pay you $500,000, a year for 3 years. He's like, I'll pay you 500,001 over 4 years, and that's how he won that. Like that's what he did. He prices righted those people, and it was brilliant because he knew what he was getting, and he got his value. Like he got his trophy. Like how often do you see a small market team like Kansas City hoist that trophy?
Oh my God,
In
not very
baseball.
often at all.
No, NFL is a different story. Kansas City is a big market there. It's hard to explain for people who don't watch sports, but Kansas City
Yeah.
is a small market baseball team. Like the money that comes in there, they're not competing with the Braves and the Yankees and the Dodgers and even the Padres of the world. Like that's why you see the same teams win over and over. Philly's a huge baseball team.
Oh yeah, like go back the last 2 years, this year and or go back to last year and the year before, and look at Citizens Bank Park in October and November. That place is packed, and you can't even hear yourself think. It's that loud.
Correct. That is a fact, and it's also how you make money in baseball. Like the Yankees don't just make money because their name's the Yankees. They make money off merchandising. They make money off ticket sales, and like there's not a lot of people buying Kansas City gear, but you will have people in Wyoming be like, man, Yankees are cool. I'm gonna buy me a Yankee. You ain't getting people in Idaho going, man, I'd love to have me a Kansas City Royals jersey today. That's the difference. That the money, and that's why. That's why it's so different. So that's why when people who don't watch sports didn't understand how special that championship was for Kansas City, it just doesn't happen. Just like when the Cleveland Indians could have won it. For some reason, Cleveland's a small market in baseball. They love their Indians, but they just never. When Albert Bell and Kenny Lofton, Jim Thome left, like they didn't have any sales on. I didn't have nobody. Like they weren't selling like they were. So that's why you saw that sharp drop in the Indians teams. But that 1995 series with the Braves, man, like that's the only one we won, and we went like every fucking year. I was like, we got to win one of these, man. We got to win one of these, and we did not run into the Yankees that year, and we showed why we were still one of the best teams in baseball. It's just hard to take out a Jeter-led Yankees team, and then they had mercenaries like Giambi out there. Let's just sign this fat bastard for 2 years and win a couple titles. And they were smart. They signed him for 2 years, not the big contract he wanted, and he immediately fell off after those 2 years. So the Yankees are smart. Their scouts know what they're doing. They're winners for a reason.
Oh yeah. And then the one thing too, which was really key for the Atlanta Braves winning in 1995, their rotation.
Yeah. Oh man. I mean, come on.
So deadly.
Even outside of Maddox, Glavine, and Smokes, you had even in the before you had like Zane Smith out there, like quality pitcher. You had Rick Mailer out there, quality pitcher. You had Charles Nagy at one point in that rotation. I mean, like he was old, but I mean, like he's gonna win you every other game he pitches, and then you got those three winning 3 out of 4 games that they pitch. I mean, it was unreal, is what it was. The problem was like we didn't score any runs. Like even in the World Series and playoffs, when the Braves would hold them to 2 runs, we would lose 2-1. I love Mark Lemke and Jeff Blauser and Rafael Belliard and Sid Brew. I love them, but those motherfuckers are not producing you runs. We didn't get that title until we got Chipper Jones. We got some run production out there. That David Justice, we got some people that could score runs, like because you just weren't going to do it with those people I named. It just wasn't going to happen. And once the Braves figured that out, well, it was a little too late. Like Glavine was old. He wanted to go sign a long-term contract, so he went to the Mets. Maddox was nostalgic for going back to the Cubs, and John Smoltz had 12 to 15 surgeries at that point, so he went to the Red Sox to be a closer. It was just too late, but they got one, and it was.
I was going to say sometimes all it takes is just one to remember in a lifetime.
Yeah. Oh, man, are you kidding me, man? I remember I was 14 years old. I was just rolling. It was amazing.
Oh man. And then obviously the most recent one being in 2021. Like I
Yes.
watched that World Series alone just to be like just because, still hating on the Astros and now it's just like, who gives a shit? Okay, cool, you cheated. It's a new season every year. There's a lot of teams on the market that are just on the rise and, at some point it's just like, fuck a grudge, I'm going to watch this sport because I love it. And then just like
So you have a ability to upload videos in the StreamYard, right? So
yeah.
I will get it from my wife. My wife secretly recorded me. I've seen the video, it is funny as hell. Secretly recorded me when the Braves got the third out of the 2021 World Series. Like
Mhm.
she was doing this. Like, I'm not paying attention to them at all. We're 1 out away from the World Series, right?
Yeah.
And so we won it, and like I'm going nuts. And then she's like, "Hey, I'm gonna send you a video." And then she videoed me. It was really cool. I'm gonna send it to you. You can put it up next week. I'm cool with it.
Okay.
It was so much fun. I love baseball so fucking much, man. Like
Mhm.
that moment, and I was 40. You know what I mean? I wasn't a kid. Like when you watch this video, you're gonna think this is a 10-year-old out there. I mean, like that's how
Oh.
excited I am about sports. I'm
Oh
like
yeah.
you. I
I
love
mean,
it.
I couldn't agree more. I was 26 when I saw the Chicago Cubs, uh, because at the time I was living in Chicago for a while, and I pretty much accepted it like a second home. Like, and on top of that, everybody loves the Chicago Cubs. Like they've had good years, they've had bad years, but something about 2016. Going into that season, you knew the Chicago Cubs were going to come out champions, especially after losing in 2015 to the Mets in the NLCS. Honestly, I think their mental mindset going into that season was a revenge tour. And when they got the final out of the World Series, I'm screaming like a kid on Christmas morning, like I just got a PlayStation 2.
Well, anytime that you see the Indians in the World Series, it's that other team's opportunity. So
Mm-hmm.
you just take a team that in the National League that hasn't won a World Series in a long time, and if they roll up in the World Series against the Indians, that's the agreement because the Braves did it, the Cubs did it. Anytime they go, a team that hasn't won it in 25, 30 years wins their first World Series forever.
Oh, yeah.
I really thought the Indians had the better team that year.
Oh,
But
yeah.
really,
And
like the
they had a
Cubs were a team
22
of
game winning
destiny.
streak, too.
Yes, the Cubs were just a team of destiny. That's the
Mm-hmm.
only way to explain how they beat the Indians that year.
Yeah.
But it was fun baseball.
Even with the Cubs winning the World Series in 2016, I still think like that is the greatest World Series of all time because we saw two teams that have not been to the World Series in God knows how long if you combine the years that they've gone through the drought, and we got to see one arguably the best World Series ever because it was a clash of two teams that have gone through such a drought for so long, and they knew they deserved to be there.
It had been 11 years since the Indians had been to the World Series when they got beat by the Braves. I don't even know how long since they won the World Series.
Yeah.
And that's really weird because growing up, the Indians always had some pretty good teams out there, with
Mm-hmm.
Albert Bell and all that, but they just never could. And that's what I try to tell people when the Braves don't win every World Series, and they're like, "Well, you're not going to win them all." It's really hard to win a World Series because if
Yes.
it was easy, every team would do it. Like it is hard. Like
It is. You got to
I'm
go
not
through 162 games,
right.
sometimes a doubleheader or two.
Yes, and then the playoffs
Mm-hmm.
against people who are very fucking good too. And then all
Yes.
it takes is a bounce here and there that you can't control. Like if the ball hits and goes funny and you took the right angle and you did everything right, but that shit splits that way and now 3 runs score, you lost the game. You can't account for that,
Yep.
right? So that's why baseball is so much fun, and that's why it's so damn hard. That's why you
Yes.
see a lot of repeat champions in the NFL because it's just strategic. Bam, 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 bam.
Yep.
It's hard to win it, don't get me wrong, but it is not as hard to win a Super Bowl as it is a World Series. And that's
Absolutely.
just a
Couldn't agree
fact.
more.
We saw how many did we see the Patriots win? You can just equate that now. Like if you put the right scheme out there, you can win. But if it was that way, the Yankees should have won like 15 in a row from
Absolutely.
92 to 2007, and they did not,
Yeah.
That's why baseball is so much fun. I love it. Like I cannot wait for baseball. I cannot wait to watch the Braves. Like I
Mm-hmm.
will watch any game that's out there, but when the Braves are on, no other teams exist for me.
I couldn't agree more. I mean, I'm so excited for so many teams going into the 2024 season.
Yeah.
It's definitely going to be one to watch. But as always, thank you again for coming on to the show. I understand how you feel. I think I'm starting to come down with something too. There's
Yep.
something going around right now, and maybe it's just a common cold, you know?
I hope so.
All right. Until next time, man. Have a good one.
Thanks, man.
All right. So, like we were talking about, baseball season is here. The 2024 season is so close that we can taste it. I mean, like I said, there's so many teams that are going into this season with a lot of expectations. I'm a Yankees fan, but I still got my eyes on the Chicago Cubs and the Arizona Diamondbacks. The Chicago Cubs, I cannot wait to see what they do. You got Christopher Morel, Nico Horner. There were two guys, I believe, that are on their farm system that showed up during spring or that showed up against the White Sox that helped provide a 6-run first inning. And just I it's gonna be a season to watch. But that's all the time that we have today. I am No Mercy Sports. Again, be sure to click the link in the description and click the link that says Reaper Apparel. All right. And when you go to checkout, be sure to use code No Mercy Sports, all caps, followed by the number 10, and get 10% off your entire purchase. Don't forget, time wasted is time lost. I will see y'all next week. Peace